Great stuff, thank you, Carl. Well, we're really looking forward now to round 2, heat number 3. And here it comes now. They're leaving the pit lane. We're going to very quickly go through the runners in this one. We've got Cole Egner, Michael Weddle, Marius Nowicki, Bjorn Vermeulen, Josh Nee, George Massey, Ryan Smith, Ross O'Mara, Fabian Siegmann, and Dan Truman. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed, because this could go in a variety of directions, I think. Do you know what? I actually, if his head's in the right place, if he can pull it off, it's not outside being an all-Scottish battle here between Michael Weddle and Ryan Smith, albeit Bjorn Vermeulen's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, as will Siegmann, but yes, absolutely. Ryan Smith, very, very quick driver. Not getting the best result in this first heat. He's chasing points, will be desperate for a good one as well. I think we're in for a cracker here.
Absolutely. I'm James Auld, commentating for the BRKC. You're listening also to Jamie Henderson, who's competing in this championship as well. And down the pit lane, of course, we've got Kyle Power. And they're starting their qualifying laps now. We've got, of course, the 1-lap qualifying, and then they'll be put into grid order or starting order, single file positions there. The checker flag is coming out. Ross O'Mara's set a time. Josh Nee is fastest. Michael Weddle has gone quicker, so Michael Weddle provisionally on the pole position. Michael Weddle there, and he's been beaten by Nicole Egner, the European Ladies Champion, and Siegmann fastest. Siegmann and Bjorn Vermeulen and Dan Truman, and Michael Weddle's been pushed down the order. Gosh, he's going down, and Ryan Smith in 3rd place. But Nowicki is the one on pole position there. Marius Nowicki, the last driver out to qualify, is on the pole position there. And so Marius Nowicki is provisionally on pole there. All 33.2 for the first 2, and then 33.6. So a little bit of a jump there. Quite a surprise there, Jamie, to see such a jump, 2nd to 3rd.
Yeah, the big casualty there is probably Michael Weddle, you'd have to say, who's had a fantastic first result. I believe he got a 3rd place. But yeah, Siegmann, like we said, we need to watch out for him, and Nowicki right up there. It's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. So Michael Weddle elbowed down to 7th place, and Ross O'Mara in 9th, a former winner there. We'll see if he can move through the order. So it's Marius Nowicki who's going to be taking the start there, and we're looking there. That is actually Fabian Siegmann there in the white helmet with the yellow gloves on the screen. He's the young German, and so Siegmann, of course, has been he's a champion in Germany. He's also was competing in the Indoor European Championship in 2019. Behind him, though, that is Bjorn Vermeulen. And Bjorn Vermeulen has been around for ages, always a strong competitor. It's one of those travelling Europeans, and they come around now to take the start. It's going to be Marius Nowicki who's going to be taking the start there from 1st place. He's crossed the line, the start is good, and the race is on. They're into that hairpin, and this already seems to be a little bit closer than the previous race. They're working out from that and heading on down to another hairpin. On screen there you can see it's Marius Nowicki who's turning in first, and he has got Siegmann behind him. Now Siegmann, we saw a bit of pushing and shoving at the back there. There's some change of position. We'll see how that works out and when they cross the line for the timing later on. So into this corner at the end of the back stretch, round this long right-hander, and it's still Nowicki who's going to cross the line in 1st place. Cross the line now in 1st place, Marius Nowicki from Fabian Siegmann. Bjorn Vermeulen is still in 3rd. He's in 3rd place, Jamie, but we can't discount Bjorn Vermeulen from this at all, can we?
Can't discount any of the top 4 at this point, yeah. I'm just wondering to see if Michael Weddle's made that much progress. Yep, there he goes, just made a move into the snail sections. He's moved up into what I believe to be P7, so still there's some work to do there, but hopefully with that clean track ahead of him, he could still be a part of the battle for the win.
Yes, he could. Michael Weddle definitely could, and he's making places up bit by bit. Everyone's saying sort of similar sort of distance away from each other. That looks like Ryan Smith. Yeah, he's in 4th place. No, Ryan Smith in 4th place. He has won at BRKC level in the pits.
And we have our first pitter. It is Josh Nye. Josh Nye has come straight in from that midfield battle, and again, we've seen quite a lot of early pitters in this championship. It's worked out for some, not for others.
Yeah, that's right. Josh Nye, I wonder why he's sort of really wanted to come in that early, but we'll see what his plan was. He obviously feels he's been held up, and so it might well prove to be the case. So crossing the line there, it's Nowicki who's definitely not coming into the pits. We've still kind of got a lot less early pit visitors on this format. Do you think, Jamie, is there a case of the fact it's not the layout that promotes early pit stops and that sort of randomness thrown in by an early pit stop, or is it just that we haven't seen it happen yet?
I think for a lot of it, the drivers just want to acclimatise to this new circuit, and if you pit early and then you come out in clear air, yes, that might be good, but also you're not copying anybody, you're not learning what they know that you don't. So one of the reasons we're seeing long trains of karts here is everyone's getting quicker as they just learn where they're a little bit slower than other drivers. It's a really interesting dynamic that opens up, but it does mean we get a lot of late pit stops. That's what we saw in the previous 2 heats as well.
Well, there's a really good insight there from Jamie Henderson. Jamie, of course, is competing in this championship. He's going to be in action in a couple of heats' time, so we'll be looking out for him there. But as he says, basically, people are just sort of feeling their way through it. And one very interesting point we brought up, especially at the level we're operating from, people are actually seeing what others know and figure out for themselves. So certainly the one who seems to know the most at the moment is Mariusz Nowicki, who's still in the lead there with Siegmund and Vermeulen. Now, there's an ever so slight gap opening up behind Vermeulen to Ryan Smith, and Vermeulen is starting to put the pressure on Siegmund. Siegmund, of course, we know is a real little expert. He's come over from Germany for this, part of Eco Racing Team 2. In fact, his Eco Racing Team 2 teammate, Nicole Egner, she's down in 5th place for this one. In fact, there's been a pass for position there, and it is Bjorn Vermeulen. He's moved up a place.
Yeah, absolutely, really, really good move. We just missed it into the hairpin there. I think the cameras did pick it up, though. Very, very smart. Now it's all about seeing whether he's got the pace to take on Nowicki.
Yeah, because the gap has actually opened up slightly, and Vermeulen's the one who's kind of tasked now with closing it down. Nowicki may be aware that he's got a bit of a bigger gap. He's probably kind of looking out the corner of his eye to look through some of the tighter turns. But this time, instead of it being Siegmund who's on his tail, the German, he's got Vermeulen, the Belgian, after him. And here they come round. We can see them in almost a change position there. Ryan Smith is getting well into this mix. Ryan Smith there in 4th place is looking more and more convincing. There's a long way to go in this race. Bjorn Vermeulen is 2nd with a bit of a gap there. He's trying to make up. It's going to be harder for him to do it because he's not leaving Siegmund, and more seriously, he's got Ryan Smith there. There's Michael Weddle, we just saw coming into picture. He's 7th, but seems to be making up a bit of time. Jamie, it's looking good for Nowicki at the moment, but maybe Vermeulen, if he can just get things settled down around him, can start making inroads.
Yeah, we now have a 6-car battle for the lead here as well. It is really bunching up there, and now we're starting to think, well, who is going to be the first to blink? Who now feels like they know enough about this circuit to box, come out in clear air, and then still find more lap time? It's going to be really interesting to see. I think Michael Weddle is starting to apply the pressure a little bit. He's still a 10th off the pace of the leaders, but if they start battling, he is going to be in that fight as well.
And as you say, it is effectively a bit of a 6-car scrap. There's a slight gap there, but when you look at it, it's just looking a bit further back. Nicole Egner in 5th is trying to hold off Dan Truman, who's in 6th. Now, if those two just keep sort of plugging away and not fighting each other, they may actually make this a 6-way fight. In the pits.
Yep, in the pits we have number 14. That's Fabian Siegmund out of 3rd place. So Vermeulen got past him. He's decided to pit out of that and try and get some clear air. Now this is crucial as he comes out. He comes out just behind the number 8, Ross O'Mara, who hasn't pitted yet. So that has not worked out for Siegmund at all.
Well, that's very interesting, Kyle. I mean, to be honest with you, you've got to say it's a bit of a gutsy move. He has actually done it, though, hasn't he? He's managed to make the move on O'Mara, which O'Mara is normally a pretty racy guy. I'm surprised he's sort of been able to do it that easy. But certainly Siegmund felt that he was going to be making better ground there by coming in. We'll see if that really is the case now, because luckily he's been able to get ahead of Ross O'Mara, because when I saw that O'Mara passed him, I thought, gosh, you're in trouble now, pal. And it did seem to be, well, this is going to be one of those strategies that either plainly works or plainly doesn't. Jamie, I can't really see any reason if just to give himself some kind of different thing to look at.
So if I could just butt in, it was an extremely...
Sorry, we've got Carl getting in.
Sorry, it was an extremely gutsy move, considering that Siegmund pitted out of 1st and put himself from 1st to 3rd in his previous heat from pitting early. So he's clearly forgotten about that or hasn't learnt the lesson. So he's clearly extremely confident of his pace.
Yeah, so with a history of making a monkeys of it, he's actually rolled the dice again. So we'll see how that shapes up. Jamie, this is either going to work for him or it's not, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what point Carl made there because I can't quite make it out, but I'm sure it was brilliant and insightful.
It was the point that he, in the first race, he tried a sort of radical strategy and ended up 3rd instead of 1st.
We have Daniel Truman in the pits.
Very apt point to make.
Yep, so we've got Daniel Truman in the pits. and he comes out just behind Ross O'Mara.
Well, that's going to be interesting because another person's got to pass Ross O'Mara. Now, Ross O'Mara is a pretty racy dude. We have seen him win a BRKC race, and he's really here for the action, and he's not going to make it easy for Dan Truman. Now, Dan Truman is, of course, one of the more capable drivers. I mean, everyone's capable here, but Dan Truman really does have the ability to do something.
And we have
one in.
Yep, we have Nicole. We have Nicole Egner in, and she was in a battle, and she's going to come out right into that O'Mara battle, and she's going to fit in between the two of them.
No, she's lost a place to Dan Truman. Dan Truman's gone up the inside, and Nicole Egner is the big loser there. But Egner and Truman, well, they obviously weren't aware, with it being the new format, that where they would come out, which would be right behind Ross O'Mara, and that has arguably really hurt both of them. It depends. I mean, if O'Mara comes in now, great news. If not, they're just going to lose time on the leaders, because I don't think O'Mara is quite on their pace, but O'Mara isn't and doesn't have to let anybody through. He's perfectly, within his rights to hold on to his position. So if he pits soon, great news for them. If he doesn't, they're going to have to race their way past Ross O'Mara. And as we've said before, Jamie, Ross O'Mara is a pretty racy dude, isn't he?
He absolutely is, yeah. And I mean, depending on how pit stops work out here, you can definitely make a case for 6 different drivers winning this race. You've got Nowicki, Vermeulen, Smith, Sigman, Egner and Truman all in with a chance here, just depending on what falls their way and what pit strategies are available.
We have Weddle in. Michael Weddle is in the pits. So it's in the 15. So he's been steadily trying to work his way up from a disastrous qualifying by his standards. He's going to come out behind Egner, and he's going to fit in. He's going to come out just behind Massey. Oh no, he just got ahead. So that looks like it's worked out okay for Weddle. He's trying to salvage something from a disastrous qualifying by his standards.
Yeah, Michael Weddle we saw a little bit down the order after the qualifying. He's moved up forward, and now he's lost a bunch of places, but there are still some pit stops to be made, so this may shake out. Plus, Michael, he's very experienced. He does have what it takes to get past people. Now, that's interesting because, well, in fact, he's in the pits. Ross O'Mara now.
Yep, so O'Mara's in the pits now. Yep. Number 8, and he is followed in by 17, George Massey, who absolutely clouts the barriers. And so O'Mara gets his pit stop correct this time. No mistakes this time around. And Massey is still getting used to his pit stop system again. He's new to this venue. He hasn't had a chance to practice this at all. And he's going to come out right near the leaders, but he recognises what's going on.
And you've got another one in, Vermeulen.
Yep, it's Vermeulen in. I missed that coming in. That looked like an extremely fast stop. That looked very good, and he comes out just behind number 14.
Fabian Siegman has managed to leapfrog Vermeulen in the pits now. That's exactly what he wanted. Remember, Vermeulen passed him on merit, but now Siegman's come back at him with a better pit stop, and that really has helped the German there. That was pretty impressive. That's what a pit stop's all about, to be fair there, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good strategy there, and I would actually predict that he's going to come out ahead in the wiki as well. If Vermeulen was all over the race leader when he came in for his pit stop, and he has actually passed fairly comfortably there, so I'd be very surprised if he's ever all over his lead.
Your opinion, Jamie? We've got Ryan Smith now in second place. Yes, he's yet to make a pit stop, but are things looking good for him, do you feel?
He's doing exactly the right thing. All Ryan needs to do is keep pumping the laps that he is, let everybody else do their pit stops. Hopefully they come out side by side, start fighting, then he might be able to jump over, and that's got to be what he's aiming for.
Yeah, because he was, it almost feels as if he's actually closer to Mariusz Nowicki than he was when he was battling with the others, and now he's got some clear space. Maybe he's making some slight inroads. We're just going to have a look at the screen there. Yeah, he's a little bit slower, and the fastest lap so far by anybody in this race has been 32.7. That's Siegman running third. Obviously he's being chased down by Vermeulen, who's also equally close on time. But certainly Ryan Smith is potentially looking good for. Again, we're going to have to see after that pit stop. What we don't want to see from Smith is a huge loss of time. He certainly looks like he could come out in front of Dan Truman, though, when you look at the actual, here he is now.
It's Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith is in the pits. So he's staying out as late as he can to try and jump. So there goes Siegman. There goes Vermeulen. Looks like Smith's going to come out clearly behind Vermeulen. So I think that's going to be a net 4th position.
Yes, crucially though, he's come out a long way ahead of Dan Truman. Now, Ryan Smith, he used to kart an awful lot, but now very little karting. He focuses more on car racing. He's been racing minis, been racing in the Citroen C1 Championship up in Scotland there. And so if anyone's going to know their way around Knockhill, it's him. But certainly Ryan Smith is coming out in 4th place there, and that's actually going to be a pretty good result. I think he would be pleased with that behind Vermeulen and Siegman and Nowicki. Yeah, so Ryan Smith, he's crossing the line now. I think we can consider that a decent result there for Ryan these days.
Yeah, done deal. P4 you would look like. Dan Truman is very quick, but with a 4-second gap, I don't think he's going to make that up. If we just have a look at the gaps, though, for pit stops, Nowicki is actually going to lose out to Vermeulen. Looking at this, they were obviously fighting over the lead, but the gap is now 9.7 seconds, and unless it's the quickest pit stop we've ever seen from Nowicki, it probably won't be enough.
And worse than that, if he's going to lose out to Vermeulen, it also means he's going to lose out to Siegmann as well. So it's looking very good indeed for Fabian Siegmann, and he's just got 7 seconds between him and the leader. He has made a pit stop, so is Bjorn Vermeulen, and they're within this magical 10 seconds that we sort of look for in someone losing in a pit stop. So really, Nowicki needs to get his foot down now. He's got to make 3 seconds up in the time remaining and then make his pit stop. He certainly really, if he comes out behind them, that's race lost. So he's got to actually go for the long stint now. He's going to have to really pit at the end of this because, you know, we have been saying how he's going to lose out to Vermeulen, but also that means Siegmann as well. So is that 13? Yeah, that's Nowicki who's in the lead there. We're looking at him now on screen. He's coming down the backstretch. There he is. Now this is the real time lead that he's got. So you can see it's the entire length of that straight. There he is, Mariusz Nowicki, the Polish driver, and he's turning into that final corner. He's going to put another lap in. He could have pitted there, but he didn't. He obviously has seen the situation. He knows what the gap's going to be, and he's probably going to stay out for the long run. In other words, that means pitting as late as possible in the race. Siegmann comes through, and there's Bjorn Vermeulen. They're the ones he's worried about. He's got to bring that gap to over 10 seconds, and it's going to be very difficult to. He's almost got it there with Bjorn Vermeulen, because he must have gone faster again there, because he's now 9.3 ahead of Vermeulen, so he might just be on from being safe with Vermeulen, but Siegmann has definitely got to be dangerous. It's less than 8 seconds there, Jamie.
Yeah, Siegmann's got this wrapped up, in my opinion. I really don't see how that's going to fall away from him now. I actually think Vermeulen is looking fairly safe in second place as well, but we'll have to wait and see. I just saw Nowicki give a nod to somebody on the pit lane, so that might mean that he's in this lap. We shall see.
It could well do, and of course that person in the pit lane would probably have a better idea what's going on. Dan Truman and Nicole Egner have swapped places. Nicole has got through ahead of Dan Truman in their battle for 5th. But really, it's all eyes on Nowicki at the moment. Here he is on screen. There's Mariusz Nowicki. Will he come in? Will he come in? No,
he doesn't.
No. Carl, you're going to have to wait longer to talk through that pit stop, which is only, well, it's going to be within the next 5 minutes. So probably he's got about an 8-lap window. It's 9.1 seconds, so he's lost a fraction of time to Bjorn Vermeulen. Mariusz Nowicki is looking very, very vulnerable here. This lead is not looking convincing at all.
I take back everything I said about Siegmann's decision-making earlier. It looks like this time pitting early has been a masterstroke, because Nowicki has been out in the lead. Siegmann's pitted early. I think, did he pit from 3rd place? And it looks like he's catapulted himself into the winning position. So yeah, eat my words.
Basically, what happened there was Vermeulen passed Siegmann on the track, and then almost straight away Siegmann came in. He took himself away from everything, you know, and actually put himself at risk with people slower than him, but as it turned out, he was able to get through, and people pitted, all this kind of thing. He managed to come out of the pit stop sequence ahead of Vermeulen, which was crucial, because now he has the chance to just keep that gap. In fact, he's come down
and
again.
Nowicki is in.
He's got to lose the lead.
It looks like so. Yeah, he's doing the double pedalling in the pit stop. He's scared of it. Yep, here comes Siegmann, goes through, and here comes Vermeulen. He's going to lose the lead by quite a long way, but it's a clear 3rd place.
Well, he's going to come under threat from Ryan Smith, because look at this. Smith has got momentum on him. It's down to this hairpin, and it looks like, well, he's definitely got away with it, Nowicki, and in fact, I think he's pretty lucky to be that far ahead of Ryan Smith. If this had been the other layout with the snail section, Smith would have had an awful lot more momentum for an awful lot longer, and I think Nowicki will be in danger of losing 3rd place to him.
Yeah, it'll be a funny one. He'll come out the pits and see the 2 guys ahead and wonder how that has happened, because he's raced, in theory, a perfect race. He got pole position. He's had really good pace throughout. Other guys behind him will have boxed, and they'll be thinking he's in a great position. Comes out and thinks, how on earth has that happened? But there you go, P3, and he's now going to have to hold on from Ryan, who has put in some decent laps as well.
Well, Mariusz Nowicki is, you know, his place in, you know, as an international driver and a world level driver is beyond question. And this ability to put those perfect laps in, he's been very, very consistent. There was nothing wrong with his pit stop, really. And now he finds himself in 3rd place when he was leading. And there he is on screen again. This is Mariusz Nowicki we're talking about now, the Polish driver. He's not done anything wrong, but such is the calibre of the opposition and what the likes of Fabian Siegmann and Bjorn Vermeulen are actually throwing at him, and the demands being made is that you can get bundled back really for no fault. You know, he's just been outraced. That's all there is to it. It's these tiny little fractions here, there and everywhere. He's not doing anything wrong at all. It's just that those other two have gone faster over the race distance, and it'll be one of those situations. I'm sure he'll be saying, well, I don't know how that one got away, but it did.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vermeulen's actually flying now as well, so even he will be thinking, was this a winnable race? But all four of the top drivers really have driven perfectly. It's very difficult to work out how someone can drive as faultlessly as Ryan has, for instance, and still not find himself on the podium.
And that's the killer of this kind of level of racing. It's so easy to think, well, it's indoor kart race, people who slip and slide and bumping and boring, but it just doesn't happen. I mean, we've had almost no collisions. You know, there's been no accidents. There've been only 2 times that the marshals have actually had to do anything at all. And we're what? 13 races into this gig. And, and each race is a long one. It's not, it's not a 10-lapper. It's, getting on for, half an hour. It's like 30-odd laps. We're 32 laps in, and that's a long way by any standards. So it really is. It says a lot about the standard of the competition. We've got all of our pit stops being made now, haven't we? So we're just really waiting for this one to wind down. Fabian Siegmann, the German, he was the European indoor champion, as we know, and he's just really. He got the job done, especially against the likes of Bjorn Vermeulen. It really is something. And Maris Nowitzki himself is doing great. Brian Smith, really good to see him up in 4th place, because Nicole Egner, she's new to us this year, but we know a lot about her. She's done brilliantly out in Europe. Dan Truman, Michael Weddle, these are not small names, are they? And obviously Josh Nye, and then we've got Ross Amara, who's actually a BRKC heat race winner. He's half a minute back. That's nearly a lap down, as they come into what was probably going to be starting the final lap now for Fabian Siegmann. That's it. The German begins what we're expecting to be maybe the penultimate lap, probably, or maybe the last lap. We'll soon see. But we'll keep an eye out for that one. Meanwhile, further back, Nicole Egner's hanging on to 5th place. She's not under threat, but certainly under a degree of pressure not to muck it up by Dan Truman. And there's Bjorn Vermeulen in picture there. And that is Marius Nowitzki, who we've been watching for so long. And so there's Nowitzki. He continues in 3rd. We saw he was leading. There's Ryan Smith. Now, Ryan Smith looks to have actually closed in a bit. He's only 7 seconds behind the winner. There's Egner and Dan Truman. And then it's going to be Michael Weddle. There's Michael Weddle, well-known Scotsman. And then it's Josh Nye. And surely this is the final lap now. They're bringing out the checker. It's going to be Siegmann's race. Fabian Siegmann, the German, is going to take this one. And he's in the number 14. There he is. He's coming around the final corner now. And we're looking at Nowitzki on screen, but Siegmann has taken the flag, and Vermeulen's going to take 2nd place. And on screen now we've got, he's gone off screen. There's Nowitzki taking 3rd place. Ryan Smith there in 4th. Nicole Egner is going to come through in 5th. Surely, yes, she is, ahead of Dan Truman, who's in 6th. And there's Michael Weddle, who's been really quite up and down in that race, hasn't he? We've seen him at the middle, in the front, in the back, and everywhere. So, and then Nee and Amara and Massey bringing up the rear. So, really an interesting one, and a bit of a surprise that Nowitzki lost it, to be fair.
Yeah, if you told me sort of 5 minutes into that race that wasn't going to go his way, I would have been very, very surprised. But you can't take anything for granted in this competition. Michael Weddle's been on the podium today. He's won many races in this competition, down in 7th.
And clearly no obvious area where Nowitzki lost that, but he lost it badly enough to not just lose the lead, but come 3rd. Kyle, we're going to go down to you in the pit lane now. Do your stuff. There's going to be probably some interesting tales from this one.
Yes, I've managed to... they've all agreed, so I've got Siegmann has agreed for an interview, Bjorn Vermeulen and Ryan Smith I will have as well.
How did you arrange that when they haven't even got out the carts? Well done, my friend.
Pointing, waving, and lots of eyebrow raising. That could be quite alluring if I need to. So I'm just going to let them get weighed up and come in. I'm going to hopefully be able to grab Ryan pretty soon, because he doesn't need to weigh because he's in 4th. So I'm going to get Ryan's coming over to myself now. Come and let him get his helmet off. Hi, brilliant. So I'm down here with Ryan Smith with an extremely hard-fought 4th place. How was that for you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think I kind of messed up the strategy a bit. I wasn't too far off the pace. I wasn't quite consistent enough, but I think I should have pitted earlier. I think it's, I don't know his name, is it Fabian that was in third? He pitted early. I thought I could maybe stay out, and if they all pitted early and maybe started fighting, they could hold each other up a bit, but that didn't happen. But I should have pitted a wee bit earlier, but I was trying to monitor Marius as well when he was coming around to the end, but it was just got out ahead. Couldn't catch him near the end.
About another 5 laps, you could have maybe had Marius.
Maybe we were kind of doing similar times. It was just that little bit too far. I think it was about a second and a half he had. I wasn't really closing that down.
Okay, but good performance nonetheless. Well done.
Yeah, it's better than this morning, so I'll take it.
Yeah, good, well done, mate. It's going to get race winner, Fabian Seigman. So the early pit stop worked for you this time.
Yeah, I think it's not common to pit early, but it worked for me luckily. I saw that I have kind of a window with no karts on the track, so I could just drive my lap times, and it worked out well. I'm very happy.
Yeah, great drive. You had stunning pace there, so you were very unlucky in your previous race. You pitted from first, ended up in third, but this one, you played it absolutely perfectly and great pace to secure the win. You must be extremely happy, man.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very happy. I think, of course, in the first heat it was kind of unlucky with the yellow flag, but I think overall you can't say that I'm unlucky. So in the first heat I had a very fast kart, and in this heat I had again a very good kart. So I think I can be happy right now.
Okay, brilliant. Go and enjoy it. Superb. I'm just going to get the second place. Bjorn from Milton. Bjorn, looked like an extremely tough fight out there. Did you think that you had a good chance of winning that race?
I messed up my qualifying. I went full throttle immediately, and after a few turns I saw that the guy in front of me, he was waiting. So I had to wait, but the guy behind me was gaining space on me, so I did my qualifying. I bumped the guy in front of me, so I lost 2-3 tenths for sure. So I might have been first in qualifying, but afterwards, if you see the lap times, I'm pretty sure being P1 or 2 would have been very close for sure, if I would have been qualifying in first. I'm happy with second. I made a good pass. It was close, but it was a good pass, and after that, yeah, just damage control.
Brilliant, great drive, well done.
Thank you.
Back to you, James.